Everybody get up, it's time to slam now.
Come on and slam, and welcome to the jam. Come on and slam, if you wanna jam.
Blow bad blues, Brother Latif. Blow mean bad blues with jump and swing and everything. Till the 2, till the 4, till the 6 a.m. sleepy time when the sunrise sits just over Earth's eyes, so languid on the horizon. Blow bad blues, Brother Latif. Blow mean bad blues the world has never heard before. Blow to the 4 corners of the earth. Cover the sky with your horny sax sound, swinging with the backbeat boogie-woogie of barroom brawls. Big Joe Turner and the working man drinking heavy to ease the pain of being stepped on. Blow of brothel houses, abusive spouses, bloody crosses burning in the heat of the goddamn night. A blowing out a tire on the Prius, shit. Flat City, halfway to the gig, on the run and caught somewhere between nowhere and nowhere at all. Blow bad blues, Brother Latif, blow mean bad blues of your hand sliding up her warm thigh. Making love to her like you make love to your sax. Sweet Sula Mama snaking hot tongue down to your medulla oblongata. Oh baby, I gotta go blow bad blues with Brother Latif. Blow mean bad blues. Sing lullabies to the memories of hot Havana nights. Drinking wild Cubano rum, watching Fidel and Che taking back the banks and kicking out the mob. Ha! No mas traficante for Santos boys, huh? And sweet Sula Mama shaking her hips not 2 feet from the band while Viva la Revolution raged just outside the door, her cheeks and muscles bulging with sweat and the sound of gunfire. The fabric covering her sweet Sula Mama curves stretched to impossible tightness. The shape is where it starts, man. That's what Brother Latif says when he blows bad blues, when he blows mean bad blues and whispers, it's all in the telling. The sound that paints a picture is worth 1,000 words of the air and 10,000 notes on this here saxophone. He whispers this in my ear, then blows a G flat, stopping to smile big at me who is listening to him blow mean bad blues. Blow, Brother Latif. Blow those blues in my ear and out the door to the streets where we, the people, need them, where the sidewalks crack under the weight of the heavy-hearted whose hope is gone with the slash of a knife. Send them out with a voice pure enough to stop the fists that pound a woman's bare white flesh on crowded 6th Street and Avenue A and Eloisa, Lower East Side, New York City, as witnesses of all my colors stand by, cheering for more. Vaya, kill that hockey! Lay those blues down hard to mend the broken-hearted, the lost and the forlorn, the tattered and the war-torn. And when you have comforted all of them, turn your blues to the one who looks into the mirror and calls himself me. Blow bad blues, Brother Latif. Blow mean bad blues, and I'll meet you out past the chicken shack. A bottle of wine in my hand, my soul intact. We'll meet, we'll laugh, and we'll blow bad blues, Brother Latif. Blow mean, bad blues. Dear America, a slightly younger, more strident me would have pointedly, with my middle finger high in the air and perhaps my tongue slightly in cheek, addressed you as Dear America. Today, I know better. As much as I might like to take the easy road and assume, especially when perusing the news or social media, that you are one giant monolithic monument to stupidity, ignorance, unenlightenment, abuse, corruption, neglect, and individualism run amok, among many other ridiculously sordid issues, I know I can't do that. Because to do that would be to dismiss the diversity of thought, soul, and desire that is me, my own body, my own stardust-born heart. Even just a few short years ago, I probably would have taken that short road to nowhere, despite what I'd like to think right now. I can't do that anymore. I realize now you're not an ignorant, spoiled teenager, a child that should be treated like a child. No, you're an adult now. Young perhaps, but still an adult, out to make your way in the world. So I'll drop the hysterics and talk to you like one. America, you are amazing, infuriating, brilliant, and beautiful, dark, and despicable. When you choose to shine, the world wants to follow your light. And when that light shines best is when, in humble service, you go. But you are moody, America. And when you are, everything can seem a dark, lonely existence. Seemingly a lifetime filled with chaos and disgust. A baby half step forward, then a baker's dozen backwards is what it seems to always be with you, America. Time and again, you and I can point to the misdeeds of miscreants and many, many things most of us won't ever want to talk about, but truly need to if we are ever to progress forward. Your junkie characteristics, America, tend to show in nearly every negative way possible, thus enabling your worst tendencies to manifest and make us all miserable. If this slavery were to all things good and fair, then there would be no complaints, no cries of defund the police, no chants of lock her up, no need to drive home the point with a vengeance that Black Lives Matter. But your cruel, crackhead addiction to racism as tool, white supremacy as rule, is a never-ending goal that leaves you trapped in a bubble of perpetual self-delusion, falling asleep at the wheel in an ether-induced coma while barreling down a road to nowhere. There is no need to say I care, America. This letter is proof of that. The road is still long, and there are many smart, loving, strong people riding, walking, skipping, jumping, running, sliding, slipping down it, and I believe they will bend the road the way it best needs be bent. And I will be there with them, one way or another, doing my part to bend that long arc to justice. To not only connect the dots, but to connect action to the dots. In this way, America, I can sleep through the night. Even as you rage and fume yourself through another day, another dollar, another broken promise, I will sleep soundly. And in the morning, I will rise with the dawn, smile at the sun, and begin anew. Again. I will rise, America, and so will you. This I know to be true. Sincerely, me. Harlem, oh Harlem. Today, I'm thinking of you. Stickball in the street in a photo from decades ago. A young Willie Mays stands at bat, handsome grin and a stick in his hand at the ready. Storefronts and cars visible in the background. Smiling faces, too. Young faces. Faces that are not here anymore. Even the Harlem in the photo seems not real anymore. Though maybe it's hiding in tiny blocks, the small veins of major arteries that are in every great city, New York being one of the greatest. But on the by and by, You live, Harlem, mostly in my mind, and many others too. Your streets changing with your newest tenants, part of an unspoken movement of changing demographics and the realities of real estate. Harlem, oh Harlem. It's been decades since I lived and slept under your stars and a cracked ceiling. Your effect on us who lived in you, who loved in you, who sat and cried our despair in you was profound. For some, your beauty and rundown pride cut deep, and they still bear the scars of your beloved whips and kisses. For others, you are an obsession, a dream, a fantasy, a nightmare, or an opportunity to make your mark. And today, I am one of those who felt your hot breath on their neck as you wrapped yourself around us. I see a picture of you, hear your name, those two syllables, Harlem, and I instantly stop what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, to smell your scent and see your streets again. They are as vivid to me now, even in their wraith-like form, as when I first walked them. They are still that real to me. Crazy, man. Harlem, oh Harlem, you will be with me till the end. This I know, and I'm grateful as I breathe each breath, as I put one foot in front of the other, thinking of who we were yesterday, who we are today, who will be tomorrow and the day after. Harlem, oh Harlem, today I'm thinking of you.
They say I'm a lyrical genius, and perhaps there is some merit here. Yet I would love to be that priceless love wedded to your heart for eternity. How beautiful are memories! Full of golden yesterdays, my longing nestled on the rays of your beauty, like fragrant lavenders cascading the redolence to a meadow of dreams fulfilled. Alas, today I sing with a weary voice, and though my rhythm and blues float like that of nightingales, there's so much loneliness hidden in my songs. I recall when the bright moon garlanded our union through the shadows of nights, how we dazzled like glimmering lights. Now the sweetness of stillness has been replaced by a boisterous wrench that keeps pressing at my despair. Only the memories linger, accompanied by anxiety, filled with the ghosts of tormented tomorrows. Not so long ago, I was bemused by a plethora of your luminance. The moon and sun sat at my table, and I mingled in the ocean of my own light. The stars came singing 1,000 ballads, and I rose at dawn like a lion, roaring your messages of ecstasy to the breeze. Alas, we come and go on life's pendulum, where all is transient, a stark pill to swallow as I pray that heaven will bless my soul with glory. Worries envelop me, and a peerless moonlight, aglow with bewitching beauty, passes me by, and I guess I won't be dreaming of solace anytime soon. I go all ugly in my current demise, forgetting that your love burns within. I'm like a Shakespearean tragedy, seemingly breathing a tapestry of colorful tales as exquisite as roses. As such, I wallow in them with tears like one looting my burning house. I shirk away like cats who hide their paws, and only the wax in a candle knows my weeping. Insecurity has stolen my happiness, and I feel like love's lover, unable to let go of the burden of suffering. I want to scream, but expression is a slow process for me in my abyss, and neither would dawn's healing sunrise work, as I'm hardly receptive to your love. So I lament how things were at our zenith of happiness when I first fell in love with your resplendence, seeking an Himalayas of light. They say I'm a lyrical genius, and perhaps there's some merit here, yet I would love to be that priceless love wedded to your heart for eternity.
My pencil feels as though it's wrapped in barbed wire, and the lines in my notebook are razor blades. I'm feeling the hands of my depression run down my back like an unwanted massage from some creep at the bar. My depression doesn't have a face or a real form, but he's real, and he intends real harm. He's like an ex-boyfriend that keeps coming back. He's an ex for a reason. Nonetheless, I have no choice but to oblige. He'll always be a part of my life, just like an ex. I try to ignore his advances. I try to swat away his hands. I turn to avert his glances. Nonetheless, he has no form. And no matter where I turn, he is reaching for my face. He moves forward for an embrace, and because I am tired of fighting him, he succeeds. He whispers in my ear that I fulfill his needs and that he will never leave. He's right. But no good can come of this union, and from the horizon the sun rises and he begins to dissipate. He is my shadow. Though sometimes forgotten, our union is fate. I will never be without him. Though I try as if on a whim to shine brighter than a ray of sun off a roof of tin, he comes back. Not always stronger. He doesn't always linger longer. Nonetheless, he comes back, like a boomerang made of mental death. When he returns, my mind dies a little more each time. I wonder, how much longer will he stay with me? Then I feel his breath on my ear as he whispers, eternity. For it is fate that we're together, regardless of the hate I bear for him. My mind is tender and he is the thunderstorm. His wrath like lightning strikes my core. I ignite, I deconstruct, as if it was luck that his bolt hit my tree. I never asked for this. Maybe I did something to deserve it. I wish I could take the fire he lit and shine, but fire is quick and it burns me till I am nothing. Nothing but ash and bone. It leaves me hopeless. It leaves me defeated till all I can muster is my heart beating out of nowhere with energy fleeting. I am born anew like a phoenix born to struggle, and struggle I do. Every day is a battle. Every task is a hurdle. Sometimes I wonder what it's like to be normal. He's wrapping his arms around my shoulders now. I feel his weight on my body. He won't let go. Just a little while longer, he pleads, as my knees tremble under his weight. Just a little while longer, and I'm not sure I can bear it anymore. The stronger his embrace becomes, the less I do than before. You could say his presence is merely to debilitate, because it is fate that we're together. Together, forever. Never parting. He has no form, but his presence is felt like the parishioner at the altar knelt. You don't have to see it to know that it's real. Depression is a disorder of how you feel, or so they say. Nonetheless, I can assuredly tell you it is an illness of the way our minds work. Like when you order spaghetti and they don't give you a fork, you know it should be there. Everyone else is enjoying their meal. But you, how would that make you feel? Hungry? I'm starving for a cure. A cure that will one day rid me of his grip and leave me pure. I'm starving for happiness that outside factors cannot fix. I have a good life. I have no reason to fret. Nonetheless, antidepressants will forever be a part of my diet. I get it. I shouldn't feel this way, but I do. I can't deny him. I can't ignore him. I cannot belay his hands that will inevitably lay on my back, on my face, down my spine. Nonetheless, I'll forever tell the onlookers, I'm fine. Because I have to, not because it's the truth. The struggle gets so bad and lasts so long that I fear that I'll never be normal, as though normal was some kind of formal arrangement, and I never got the memo. I know in my depression I am not alone, but half the time I just come home and lay in bed, letting my mind fill with dread of all the things I have to do. They may not seem like much to you, but to me, it's pure agony. Everything hurts. Thinking hurts. Moving hurts. My pencil feels as though it's wrapped in barbed wire, and the lines in my notebook are razor blades. And all I ask of you is to know that you forgave me. Forgave me for my illness. You know I didn't ask for this.
I've been through hell and high water, so I learned to breathe. While holding my breath, I learned to scream silently, violently shaking, creating ripples underwater while on the surface, smooth sailing. I'm wailing, scaling the heights of my emotional mountains, simultaneously submerged but not drowning. Inadvertently drinking from the fountain of Davy Jones' locker, I'm pounding on the gates of Poseidon's castle. For it is the gods I hassle, the gods I'd wrestle, the gods I'd crash through to escape this watery bastion and breathe the air the gods fashion for human existence. But here I am existing in a place that's different than what I was designed for. Don't need to try more, just believe that I'm more. So I climb towards the nearest reed. And With all my energy, I climb to breathe. I climb to be freed from this watery grave imposed upon me. And emerging from the depths, I realize this whole time existing as a nymph is the path of a dragonfly. I am more, I can soar, and this is what I was made for. You see, I had cursed the water I believed that had trapped my soul for life, but indeed it was the water that gave me the courage to fly, and I am eternally grateful.
You've seen Elf on the Shelf, but let me tell you about an angel wrapped in a white dress. See, I'll confess, have you very well impressed in how it made love to her shape. Because, man, it ate. Left my eyes left no crumbs as I caught sight of this dinner plate. Because it was love at first bite, the way that my light bent around her curves had my nerves going crazy. My eyes was drifting down her mountain piece, trying not to seem so creepy for staring, but let me see you try to look away from a phenomenon happening. Looking like the creator's perfect experiment, flipping through the dictionary trying to find the perfect compliment, but nothing can really describe this. As soon as she took off that jacket, my whole essence got excited. Body couldn't hide it, trying to maintain the composure, yet vulgar words went to escape my tongue as my mouth was trying to hold back the pressure. But then I burst, damn, girl. Like the creator knew what he was doing. Said to him, shit, okay, I'm sorry for the language, but damn, guy, you created this? Okay, I see what you was doing. Like God said, watch this, got a couple of sugar plum fairies, added water, flowers, and strawberries, and of course he added Lowry's. So I said, oh, you just gonna make her extra tasty? He said, absolutely. I mean, of course I had to make sure she had them seasonings. So when I'm just saying, when God was making her, homie was up there cooking. But then he had the audacity to wrap this beauty in an all-white toothpiece and definitely came with them buttermilk biscuits. And the twist and switch with her hips, thought baby girl was over there missing up some hot chocolate. And from a distance, looking like the land flowing with milk and honey, absolutely stunning. Had to step back like, calm down, Georgie. Like, I know you hungry. Seeing how she fit so well in that outfit, making Georgie say, ma'am, you and that dress can get it. So yeah, you heard of Elf on the Shelf, but have you seen a white toothpiece wrapped around some cinnamon sticks? Well, I just did.
It's a holocaust. No one's in the oven, but our brains have definitely been put in concentration camps. It's the war of distractions, the battle of our attention. The threat of being bored has us lusting over the pacifier. It's a genocide of the mind. The machine is sick, deathly ill, and pus filled. It will not stop until it's killed all it can kill. And they are coming for our children. We send our babies to school to get educated. But schools are good at schooling, not educating. They teach children to ignore curiosity and obey authority. The difference is obedience versus creativity. It's a glorified assembly line at best, producing putty out of people, or a softcore prison. The only difference between a school uniform and a prison uniform is the color orange. The girl drawing portals in her notebook has to stop at the sound of a bell to change cells, where she is reminded humans and monkeys derive from a common ancestor. The machine, be it gun or government, thirsting for blood, will find its way into the classroom to both give and clip wings. Perhaps the only thing children will learn is how fast bullets turn to caskets, making memories out of babies, classroom molds, minds into cattle, how they are graded the same. We tell our babies to think outside the box while trapping them in one almost 10 hours a day. So they do their bid with their friends and go home. Their minds stay caged. The matter turns gray. Brain connections spray. There's no room for individuality in the system. Divergent minds are a threat to the machine. They don't want open minds or free thinkers. They want sheep, employees. They want prisoners for labor and bodies to die overseas. They want you and me to believe they will prepare our children to fly. But wings never make it out the assembly line or the prison.
The thing about my writing and my poetry is I ain't doing this for the popularity. If my work ain't being scored fairly, I'ma question your integrity and your ability to see through the light in me that's blinding you to what real wordplay looks like to a fool. Now I want to read and hear everything that's ever come out of you, because I know your vocab is trash and that tip is dull as fuck too. Like, you can't upkeep conversation. A bunch of ums and Now we both lost in translation. You don't understand, but you spitting. Do you know any of them words by definition? From what I've heard, the plot is always missing. You wasting ink and now I'm livid. Picture half painted so nothing is fucking vivid. Let me break it down a little more slowly. The best writers I know are also known to read, and we do it avidly. Yet every time you open your mouth, I wish you wouldn't speak or breathe. Keep grabbing at the dictionary to fluff up your last piece. You still don't know what none of that shit means. So I'ma raise mine, put it in between your teeth, slide my vernacular in your throat. No diddy, because the last lady you want written beef with is a bitch like me. An overthinker who writes, an avid reader who bites back, because at first, this was written in jest. Then I realized I'm not joking in none of this shit. So I'm gonna say it with my chest and stand on business. It's not often I'm impressed by those who are here for a popularity contest.
In my yard getting it. SideKick jumping the candlestick. Back in thick. Agricultural Vic Vaughn picture of a masterpiece. It's quite ludicrous, actually. In the middle of my hip-hop fantasy, car goes by. Yo! What it do, Frodo? You ever feel like the skin you're in don't match your spirit? When all your interests don't match your epidermis? If I'm Frodo, then this neighborhood be the Lord of the Rings. That man down the block slinging rocks is a dwarf selling the habit. Elves keep moving in makes sense since they kept building 2 stories, replacing the ground level, chasing them treetops, gentrification tick-tock. I don't want to be the hero. I want to be Sam, a wise man, but these G's keep tempting me. If I extend my hand, take that power, that very hour, no longer hero or sidekick, Charlotte would see a new Saruman. A white wizard posing as an ally. Cops, Urukai, throw stones, then hide hands, invisible to all unfriendly eyes. No one would notice the would-be hippie be the one cutting down legacy trees, burning dark forests in fentanyl, goblins playing tribute, orcs orchestrating a new world order, the white hand of a sorrowful man on every after-school program, and always the great eye watching through the electric owls on every corner. Don't whisper here. Don't tempt me with the title of Frodo deep. In my heart, I cut a part of me off. It means burning bridges. I will hold my tongue except to scream at the would-be evil revealed by greed. You shall not pass. Cut him off, but not the beard. If war, I will go full-blown Tom bomb, bang, bang, and here's the deal. 3 blocks from me is Jordan Bailey. 1 block from me be an elementary school with one of the highest illiteracy rates in the country. I'm not Frodo, y'all. I just look like him. My spirit don't fit my skin. Frodo is in that school. We have not become Hobbiton in the hood, have not taken the Shire to the streets, as long as he's still waiting to be called out into an adventure that he can't read yet. But there's still some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for. So like Sam, a wise man, I go with my simple gifts of ABCs and stories, placed beside a manger at the feet of a child who, to me, looks like a king.
Paul the Apostle, in his letter to the Corinthians, said that Christ died so that others may live. John Lewis lived so that others too would live. He lived to show us that when tenacity or perseverance is strong, man can even conquer state-sponsored betrayals, that the highest ideals of liberty, equality, justice, and the pursuit of happiness is worth fighting for. John Lewis lived to show us that when resolve is steady, then it is possible and achievable to fight against bigotry and oppression with a strong spirit of love and goodness. John Lewis showed that no iron bars could imprison the spirit, that a more inclusive America with its richness of diversity and culture would be a lot stronger. He was a man aroused from youth, and so while listening to a Sunday speech by Martin Luther King Jr., John felt a song of freedom suddenly called to him. A gentle, unassuming, and self-giving man, John Lewis treated everyone with dignity and respect, simply because it was natural or innate to his character and persona. He sometimes went to jail for speaking out, but was passionate about righteousness, self-respect, believing by faith that if the cause was just, then we should all hold to a purpose and conviction. John Lewis lived to show us that the spirit of ahimsa, of activism through nonviolence, was but a powerful vehicle for necessary change. He believed in humans, even when the struggle was at its most intense. He helped many to overcome their fears and insecurities, their hatred and division, to increase their sense of self-worth and fortitude. When this black son of Alabama, USA, was being buried, there was a double rainbow over the casket. No surprise for a man with the unshakable conviction that hate and fear had to be answered with love and hope. Lewis was granted the Medal of Honor by Obama in 2011, and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act ensures that each American has a right to choose who they wish to represent them. Lewis's clarion call, "Get in good trouble, necessary trouble, and help redeem the soul of America," was repeated several times at his funeral. He wrote an essay just before his death. "We're all complicit when we tolerate injustice," Lewis wrote. "Each of us has a moral obligation to stand up, and speak out. In my life, I have done all I can to demonstrate that the way of peace, the way of love and nonviolence is the more excellent way. Now it is your turn to let freedom ring. The long march is not yet over. The race is not yet won. One must still be alert to the crimes of evil upon the necks and hearts of all innocent men and women, regardless of the race, color, culture, or creed. No farewell, John Lewis. We shall listen as your heart sings, as the sunset prepares flowers for another rising dawn. We will grieve and lament with funeral songs and fiery speeches. When you dance with shooting stars, hold the scepter of Jesus the Christ in the New Jerusalem. We shall hear the bugles blow and trumpets call as you rise again in the haven of the beyond, chanting Alleluia to our Lord. Steal away, steal away, steal away to Jesus. Steal away now, steal away home to Jesus.
I've never considered myself a god, but I spend most days wishing someone would believe in me. Once, I intercepted a prayer, performed a miracle, and someone called it black girl magic. Because we believe empathy is a superpower and not natural law, as if no one ever said to love your neighbor. I have never claimed to be holy. But once, I hula hooped with a halo in heaven's backyard, which is to say, I have held hallelujahs on my hips and hymnals on my tongue, long before the last woman I chose to love and lost. I've never claimed to be a saint, but if I've ever sinned, I am not sorry. I've sipped similes with metaphors until my stomach swelled with stanzas, regurgitated these poems wrapped in my own truth. Once, someone called it scripture, but I am not a god. I will not flood you for your faith, but I do want you to believe in me. I can't promise you salvation, just sincerity, and whatever is left of this heart, because love is the most authentic thing I know.
A holy man once told me to write through my pain, that somehow putting words on paper would grant me passage on salvation's train, that the distance measured between sane and insane could be multiplied exponentially if I could just express the strain contained in my inner psychotic notions, that a metaphor is gravity for the emotions, that similes were like mystic magic potions, that a prose composed into a divine line could change my mind's prognosis, And through writing about my doubts, I could see what hope is, and that fear would fall and faith would rise like the ocean. So I started going through the motions, not knowing how to express the commotions that reverberate inside my inner being. The turmoil created by reading what I'm feeling, consciously writing but unaware of the meaning. The pain cuts to the core, and I use the paper to stop the bleeding. The seemingly unending hurts of a past life come pouring out and falling down like a brass kite. My mind is like the NTB taking me back to the crash site, back to where the pain is so real it feels like it just happened last night. Back to those dark rooms and unwanted touches, back to living in the projects and poverty's clutches, to an absentee father who used bottles for crutches. I seen my mama get stabbed, so I know what not giving a fuck is. So I tried to escape through the weed and Hennessy, thought if I could feel the inside of her, it would heal the inner me. I had become my own worst enemy, and somehow that holy man knew the power of pen and ink. This pen gives me access to heaven's throne. In the presence of the divine, I am never alone. It's planted flowers where weeds once have grown. What I write is therapy to my soul. It's more than just a poem. See, this pen is liberation manifested, the creator's words to a hurting soul carefully selected, the power of perception gently redirected. So now this pen is the passion that pain resurrected. So thank you, Mr. Holy Man, whose words I now comprehend. Understand that the true distance between sane and insane is measured by the width of my pen.
It took seasons of searching to uncover truths lost in mazes of my own making. I understand gravity of it all now. You tried to pour gold into cracks that hardened against you. I was too afraid your touch would find fractures spent on years I pretended weren't there. You saw something whole in me I couldn't see in myself. I had built walls high enough to touch solitude, stacked with bricks of mistrust, mortar mixed with memories I was cemented to. You tried chiseling them away, but every time you reached the top, I pushed you off with hands still heavy holding weight from past. I refused to navigate through your beams of love. You offered calm, but chaos has always been my compass. I took your peaceful strength as threat, you'd abandon me, so I left first. Never realizing how hollow victory felt when fight was never with you, it was with self. You were the truce I was too stubborn to call. Peace I feared I didn't deserve. I turned your open arms into minefields of my own insecurities, firing accusations you didn't deserve to shield myself from possibility of love being real. I mistook your patience for pity, your kindness for control, your love for another as a trap waiting to spring. I see cost of my defenses. The space where your laughter once lived, your absence lingers longer than any goodbye ever spoken. And it's loud. I'm left sitting here tracing outline memories where we never had a chance to make. Wondering if my walls were ever strong enough to keep pain out, or if they'd only cage me in. I never gave you a chance to show me what love could feel like. I was too consumed with shielding my heart from ghosts of past to realize you were never one of them. But I became one of yours. I missed the light you brought into rooms I kept dimmed. I missed the sweet hymn from your voice I was too afraid to hum along to. I thought I wanted peace. Now I'm left in pieces with emptiness reminding me I pushed away the one thing that felt like home. Maybe this is what I deserve. To sit here in the rubble of what I refused to build, to feel weight of a love I could have had, but I let slip away. For that I'll forever be sorry. You were never my enemy. You were just a reflection I couldn't better face, a mirror showing me everything I was too scared to claim. It's a taste of Southern soul.
See, lessons not learned is bloodshed soon forgotten. That's why my ancestors used to analyze their visions, but nowadays we call that plotting. I remember when they used to boot and shoot, but nowadays they bring the cops in. That's why you got to be careful who you follow and let follow, because we living in the era of photoshopping. See, numbers don't lie when you do that math right and exact. You play broke and see who still fuck with you. Then you add and subtract. They say life is cyclical when you dealing with facts, and the profit always comes to the people when they had the substance to lack. So for every brick of dope and every kilo of crack, my people can hit my line for these lessons because I got this conscience in stacks. With family like Uncle Sam who needs an enemy, because I can get pulled for his tail light and I can be the end of me. Let me ask y'all a question real quick. You ever wonder why they call it the block? Is it because they used to sell us at the auction while others came through and shopped? Overseers as cops. So when we resisted and ran, they did the best that they can to put us in shackles and back in the cage. Could that be the reason why we say that we got it on lock? Stop. The greatest weapon the oppressor got is the oppressed mind and consciousness. So when they said I ain't no God and ain't no devil, that's complete nonsense. Hold on, let me break it down so you can roll it up real quick. See, God and devil, that's a complete opposite, right? Yeah, you know, heaven and hell, good and evil. So when you know what these Europeans did and how they tried to deceive you, then the religious texts like the Bible and the Quran become real see-through. G-O-D. Yeah, see, that's growth, order, and direction, which means you gotta have the right answers when they start asking the questions. Know when to serve justice and know when to bless them, know when to drop jewels, yeah, and know when to test them. A lot of blood, sweat, tears, and sacrifices just to make it out of my section. Because realize that when you've been told lies. I said realize when you've been told lies. Self-determination means we got to cut all ties. Kebuka, I can still hear my ancestors' cries like, why, oh, why are y'all killing each other? Because from the spirits to the 30s, y'all don't forgot y'all was brothers. Because if y'all do y'all ancestry DNA, y'all come from the same mother, Africa.
I see you. Tall glass of orange juice, and I refuse to let you become the gifted one. Beauty streets me along like piano keys as I'm picturing the hearts dancing across this dance floor. Feet move to the beat, got my heart fluttering. But then you catch me in your peripheral glancing. But can you blame me? I mean, you are hypnotizing, and you have this light that streams perfectly from the pores of your skin. So, yeah, you be glowing. So I'm gonna just stare at you while you unaware that you just caught the eyes of your Mr. Right. But I'm wondering, what are you thinking? Why are you sipping on this apple martini? Are you picturing your next romantic evening? Because the wiggling in your seats look like they got you in your feelings, and now you're smiling. Oh, it's pretty. But can it be for me? Because temptation to accept your invitation has me wondering what the next move is. But then our eyes lock, and your grin makes my jaw drop. So now I'm over here like, bartender, I'm gonna need one more shot, please, and another martini for this special lady. As I walk over and display of my confidence, you catch my heart pounding. But you don't need to know that. Just sit back and allow this smooth operator to take you out later. Because I just want to show you what a night to remember looks like as we dance to the Duke underneath the moonlight. Do you mind if we walk and talk about our future endeavors? Like, what do forever look like together? Or is it possible to cuddle in the snow while you drink hot cocoa and we snuggle drinking hot cocoa? Or do you mind if one night we ride through these city lights? I'll drive. Or you know it'd be nice? Slow dancing in the kitchen. You singing your favorite song as it's playing on the favorite radio. So just follow me into my dreams as we feud off of each other's energy. And all you have to do is kiss me. So what you think? So you say, well, are you gonna say something? And is that apple martini for me? Wait, what's happening? And you said all I said was hello, but just started staring. Dang, she done caught me in a daydream. Well, that's embarrassing. Well, at least she's laughing. Yet Time is passing. Like, what do I say? So I go into a huddle with my inner self, like, compliment her dress or tell her I bet she looks good naked. No, Georgia, you stay out of this. But I could tell her that her hugs don't work me. Or I could be a little bit more charming. Ooh, I could say I love you. Nah, that might be a little bit too soon. But look how she moves with so much style and grace. Like, what do I say? Because it's the fourth quarter and we are the eighth inning. We just got to make this play. Okay. Good. Good evening. You giggling. You said, "Oh no, don't worry, you winning." Because see, I like a man that's a little corny. And I see you trying not to be, but go ahead, open up, be free, talk to me. Good. Because I didn't know how long I was going to hold up this, but hello, my name is Mariel, and I'm the most recent victim of Cupid's era.
I've been writing these poems because this is absolutely what I gotta do. When scrolling on your phone only leads to this just in, more breaking news, leaving you oversaturated, overwhelmed, and overdue for a break or a minute to just decompress, desperately needing a break from the tragic comedy often referred to as life as it currently exists. So instead, give me a cold beer and some Netflix. Give me a mic and 15 minutes to rock a poetry set list. Give me a writing prop that no one even asked me to do to begin with. I've been writing these poems because I unequivocally choose this over the feeling of powerlessness, while thousands don't have the privilege to obsess over what obstacle to hurdle over next because they're physically being kicked out of a country that never wanted them to begin with. Because they're physically being kicked out of a country that never wanted them to begin with. What's the point of an American dream when those in charge think you're worthless? What's the point of an American dream if you're always considered less? What's the point of an American dream when the American dream is dull and tarnished, and yet we still persist? I've been writing these poems for a sense of clarity and understanding when this is my only therapy and artists and musicians slowly start to resemble family. And I don't need to be challenged to write poems because this is my authentic form of expression, effortlessly flowing from my essence to my fingertips when a pen and paper is no longer needed, just a cell phone, Google Docs, and the feeling I just wrote some dope shh. No longer needed to be written with reed brushes on papyrus for my writing to feel essential like ancient Egyptians, potentially able to spark ideas that some may call revolutionist, potentially able to electrify minds of those who doubted I'd ever be able to do this, potentially able to plant mental seeds that grow into something prodigious. I've been writing these poems. No, these poems have been searching for me for years as I ignored them, thinking that they were no longer necessary, ignoring them as they lived in the lunchbox filled with arroz con pollo that I took to work, ignoring them as they were asleep in the pockets of my favorite shirts, ignoring them but finally appearing when I needed them the most. I've been writing these poems, or better yet, I stay writing poems that I regularly mold like polymer clay, shaping into towers that conversate with the sun in the middle of the afternoon or day, that I hope will inspire the most invulnerable to pick up a pen and paint, that wake me up in the middle of the night, dragging me out of bed to create, and don't let me sleep until they're finally scribed on a digital page, that allow me to hop from cloud to cloud and allow me to feel like I'm worth something, all because I'm able to create art and then read it out loud, all because I'm able to create art and then read it out loud, that allow me to find purpose in the chaos that is life, that allow me to feel like I truly belong, all because I choose to write. So I've always wanted to write a poem where I celebrate the musical influences that impacted who I am or truly made me a music hit. Back in the day, you would have called it an ode, but if I did, where would I even start? Well, I guess I would start with hip hop, with the way the rapid paced delivery of language in the form of rhyme to a breakbeat lured me to leap inside of my radio speakers, transforming me to a b-boy at a Bronx house party in the 80s where Kangol hats and Adidas shoes with no laces congregated daily, reliving hair follicles standing on end with Eric B. and Rakim said, "Bump up the volume," or the way New York hip hop artists must have suffered horrible claustrophobia from living inside my CD Walkman my entire 10th grade year, and how all I need to hear is the Triumph instrumental to turn into Inspector Deck's long lost Bolivian cousin. Dun 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 dun. Abomatomically, Socrates' philosophies and hypotheses can't define how I be dropping these mockeries. Lyrically perform armed robbery, flee with the lottery. Possibly they spotted me. Maybe I could talk about the way conga drums rocked me to sleep as a child when my dad had a drunk combo, play live concerts nightly out of a gargantuan-sized boombox cassette tape player, or how at age 6 I stood on my seat at a Ruben Blades concert, clapping along to claves at the close of the show, or the feeling of elation that rose when my feet finally learned to not bump into each other when learning a couple of salsa steps as an adult. Maybe I could talk about the first Nirvana song I learned to play on the acoustic guitar in the 8th grade, the way my fingers belt in the clothes hangers as I struggled to strum chords on steel strings while I first learning to play Nirvana's About a Girl. I could also talk about how my 1995 car stereo system from Circuit City provided the stereo soundtrack to everything from 2 a.m. runs to 7-Eleven all the way to a makeout session or 2 or 3. Perhaps I could elaborate how I listened to Smashing Pumpkins whenever my parents used to argue the way the volume exceeded maximum capacity as plates smashed into porcelain floors, and how I found music to be the greatest form of coping mechanism to face the world that never desired more from me aside than my undivided attention. I could go on about when I first started taking writing seriously and everyone suggested I listen to less music and instead read the great poets, but I thought to myself, great poets? Then what the hell do you call Tupac, Bob Marley, Nina Simone, Prince, Lauryn Hill, and Nas? Or what about Zach de la Rocha, Juan Luis Guerra, Residente, Mercedes Sosa? Maybe I would delve into how, as I age, I learned how to appreciate country music and jazz, how Johnny Cash song lives in the pockets of my black shirts, or how when I need to relax, I visit Herbie Hancock on Cantaloupe Island. To truly make this an authentic old poem, though, I suppose I'd have to use iambic pentameter or write in a quatrain where each line and rhyme needs perfectly, like a line segment in order to form four perfect stanzas. Or I would need to speak to the subject of the ode directly. I mean, I could do that, but then where would I even start?
Returning to it like a long lost cousin or even friend, we brought up vineyards from the Indus Valley. We've hired a whole bunch of homeless locals to stage a rally. We'll be planting a hearty vintage along the icy coast where the North Atlantic whispers off the ice encrusted shoreline, or so we'd like to boast. We've offered employment to the local population, although we're not entirely certain of the contingencies and requirements of the total operation. We've announced $1 million investment, on paper, to be sure, but with the vineyards and the brewery, we're pleased to suggest that the hardy local reindeer population will probably endure. The frozen tundra nearby will no doubt prove entirely fertile on the fallow, untested, albeit rock-strewn ground, or so we've been assured by our ag manager, a charming girl named Myrtle. The proliferation of several kinds of lichen add a picturesque splash of color to the varieties of gray landscape we fully expect to double. We anticipate next December for our groundbreaking effort. We've rounded up some homeless migrants who launched a project. This bunch has impressed us all as clever. We'll be performing laser-guided drilling with a brand new AI foreman, but the locals are undergoing formal cyber training, or at least a few that's yet to be determined. The literate among them will make up the clerical staff because there's insurance forms to process and punch cards to load, so I'm not yet prepared to laugh. We'll be handing out hundreds to the hungriest passers-by. This can be easily explained. Pretty soon, my friend, you'll know. We plan to tell you by and by. We've been giving large bills to children and the wandering homeless. Yeah, that's true. They often find us enticing, and the work is quite exciting because many will be of voting age, or so we do construe. We imagine bountiful vineyards, a beachside we've been nourishing. We expect it will be flourishing, new hotels, and a thriving tourist trade. And as they relax, they can enjoy a festive reindeer parade. Not harsh enough. And starch them cuffs. I sort of like their sofa. I like their cars and stuff. Turn them in by lunchtime, then grab their favorite chair. They'll be cleared out by 11. Then they'll be just cluttering up the jail. Repudiating humanism. This is a mechanistic age. With compulsory church attendance, public prayers now all the rage. Everyone wears their AI watcher. Besides, don't leave home without it, Nacho. Even at bedtime, be no more a whisperer. You better shout about it, mister. Keep your batteries all charged up. Yeah, sure, it's only a misdemeanor, but never doubt it. Just shut up. If you're caught without it, oh, my dear, you'll learn just what it's like when your ears and fingertips most assuredly will feel the burn. And when your street block captain checks out your record online, if your watch refused to shine, you'll be emailed, brother, one big old healthy fine. No more lawn boys at the neighbors. All the gardening will be done for white folks by prison labor. All the teachers and professors, no more highfalutin men of letters, no more colleges or universities. They'll no more think they are our betters. We've emptied them out. We ain't got no more need. The doctors all warrants for insurance. So if you're poor, you'll need endurance. The whole thing runs on greed. I've turned in all my neighbors. They were a suspicious lot. And when they left, we gathered up all the things they bought. We've got great employment surges, though it's centered at a few select favorite churches. Everyone must sign up for compulsory attendance. No more private morality. Then, on the other hand, you'll never more be friendless. And when the churchy state rightward lurches, you'll see attendance kept at churches. And when the church enforcers at the door hand out the new commandments, you better hope he still signs your churchy list attendance. So many hours of prayer each day, you'll need to get your card stamped by a neighbor anyway. You'll have to buy the leader's picture. It's mandatory, you don't say, or else you'll get a lecture. They'll check on the next visit the very next day. They'll be downloading your prayer history. How fervent are your studies? The next revision of the sacred temptations mysteries, the latest definition of religion. And after they rounded up the brown ones and all the political media clown ones, the Dems were next, and them rhinos, they's all hex. Into the gulags, them proud, profound ones, they may just have their collars stretched. Those college professors were gathered to stand before the state confessors. Each classroom has its Bible belt, and should you, without your homework, be caught, precision will be a stressor. Unless you've offered a hefty bribe, it'll be a while before you wander safely back to your tribe. Schools now renounce formal learning. Didn't you smell all those books of burning? Not much left for the discerning student, 'cause carrying books for study, that isn't prudent. Best to be an athlete now. All them art and music classes are long lost and over, boy and how. Idiocracy's the new ideal. No more transgender surgery, that was never real. No more punishment for perjury. No more stool pigeons with a big reveal. All those January 6th prisoners have been knighted. Now them choral horror hoodlums are delighted. And once a year they climb the dome to remind us all that Donnie's home.
Stuck in a fleeting tide. It's as if everything is crashing against the rocks at once. I am shipwrecked, losing myself. It is at this time they say to keep your line in the water. The tides stir up hidden treasures. Always have your nets ready. It is not the time to lick old wounds and bathe in self-pity. It is time to pick up your heavy body and cast a line into survival. And if you get pulled in, do not sit there and wait for the waves to tug at your ankles, sinking to the bottom of the sea like another man's dream. Do not become the Titanic, a broken pastime luxury, a story to tell of how a zero stayed a zero when they were supposed to be the one. Fight like your life depends on it, because it does. At the bare minimum, tread water long enough to be washed ashore. Become a mermaid if you have to. Even if no one believes in them, they don't believe in you either, yet here you are. Just keep swimming. Don't you dare drown. When Poseidon is shoving water into your lungs, make sure you take a deep breath and spit it back in his face. Tell him you won't drown in his sea of broken dreams. I know you've never been a fisherman, or a fish for that matter. No fins or gills to ensure your survival, but find a way to become a shark and dominate. Or be a pearl in an oyster shell and brace yourself for the worst, even in the heaviest amounts of pressure, where no one will survive but you. Hold your breath, dive into the chaos, and have your nets ready. Keep your line in the water as she stirs up buried treasure, your buried treasure. You were made for the fleeting tide. Don't you dare give up.
I used to know God was not malicious. And now I just believe. And with belief comes the doubting. Did I know how to fly? Was I immortal? Have I already died? How long must I toil? Had I wept before? I can barely remember the things I used to know without thought. I had full access to my brain 100%. It was a mercy of the Lord to slow down my head, to retard my knowledge, for it is too much for a body to bear a mind mourning with all its capacity. You do not know what it was like to live with her. You have not loved with your core 100% of your body and mind, and I don't anymore. I used to feel, really feel. We did not need words. Words were the plaything of a child. I could sense her from across the garden, but it's all dull now, numb now, for the pain was too much to bear. It was just a moment. It was agony. That day was not the first time I heard a beast speak. I remember some parts. Era, the language of sus. Y'all, how I wish you remembered the mother tongue. It is not a lion or a horse. Lion means era. Era does not mean lion. How I wish I could speak with you instead of just speaking to you. Do any of us feel anything anymore? I once sat with a butterfly before it had a name, discussed what words would best describe it, heard the stories of the elk and the deer before naming them. I remember some parts. Was time a thing then? Did we talk for eons, or was it an instant? God forgive me. I can't remember. I spoke with the animals, y'all. It was what that snake said that shook me. It was how my ribs responded that froze me when Medusa came into God's garden. Had anyone in heaven or on earth or under the earth ever spoken like this before? Did I have the answers back then? Did questions exist in that world? Could I have borne losing again? Did I watch my Lilith walk off into the desert sunset alone forever as she faded off into your legends and memories? Are my mind and heart giving way to madness? Was she ever even real? How do you people cope with so much doubt when Eve, the Eve, when my Eve offered me that fruit, it no longer looked ripe, it looked like death. Like children who would only know of the seeds of love, a wide world of blind men surviving on a drop. When we were made to swim, it looked like heartache, y'all. I was there when the first heart became lonely, felt despair. I'm sorry. I knew what I was doing. I thought I was more prepared to lose a god than my rib. I kept my flesh. And I did not lose a God. I lost the God, and I know he still has me. That we're all in his hands. I just can't feel him anymore. She and I are so lonely. Together.
I once said I loved you in a place where there was no space and time. So my time ran out, and I'm completely out of space. So my favorite vowel changed from you to I. Now, over time, I got a lot of tenacity. You can either feel or fear it out, and my lungs are at full capacity. So no matter how this blows, I'm finna air all this shit out. Dear universe, I got a question. Or four. Why you let someone plant a seed in me and my roots weren't the ones being rooted for? Or we can take it to math, please. You like improper fractions? This 2 over 1 doesn't equal 3. So when it came to that relationship, I guess it was fuck me. But wait. Did you hear what the exponent said? The exponent said I was a square for having an expectation of myself hanging over my head. But shit, in the scope of things, it comes down to the slope of things. And y equals mx plus b, so that means you must be bugging if your negative intent is fucking or graphing me. But you know what really breaks my heart? You had 3 chances to 0.141529, etc. to bake this pie and get it all straight. It doesn't matter because you're way too late. But why did you want to add so much to me just to subtract and divide? And when I finally got to multiply, there was still a 0 in my parentheses. So I guess that means, please excuse my dumbass stupidity. I'd rather grab a tissue because the irony of the square root of a negative number equals I, and I thought I looked damn good wearing these issues. But do I matter to you? Does it matter to you? What you say? You care not to care, so what's it matter to you? Is it pink or gray? Pink enough to maximize 10% of your semi-humanly function, or is it gray enough to make up what it took for you to get atoms building for more reasons to make up your assumptions? But either way, on both sides, I don't mind. So when it comes to minding over matter, do me a favor. Don't mind the things that don't matter.
Recently, we saw a system work as designed, priming pumps to get this grand old Opry back in order to rewrite coordinates from iceberg and slim pickings to its glorious Titanic intentions. Back to days of thunder, burning rubber, petty intimidator style. Call it Wonder Bread miracle whips. No Ricky Bobby, this reality. I mean TV. I mean dramaturgy, flexing chops on stages larger than life under red and blue skylines. Keep bloodlines secure as fourth and goal where wins become losses. Call it witching out. Whole country in red zone panic or sleeping soundly snug as snub nose, maybe Primrose in District 13 now that Whitey's on the throne. Since swing states swung in home run election numbers, war has come to suburbia where all is fair when you hang with gorillas. Draped in red hats, make new axes, checkered flag, call it 911 because Whitey's on the throne. Even though Whitey's on the moon with designer spacesuits, riding privileged rockets from village to metropolis with lowercase g godlike purse strings made weapons of greed where schemes become thieves to enrich lives or define divine providence. That big E everything is their birthright. Dollars to donuts, no J Dilla, just diligently paying homage to Caesar's holy ghost of heroes through hostages. How quickly savagery becomes slavery in textbooks turn rest haven for every Reich out of step. Trying to keep up with every Joneses or Combses, maybe not Combses these days, but Sherlock Holmes could see elementary, my dear Edison, Tesla at Amazon market value of capital on capital steps of imperialism, call it Disney or Walton or Bezos or Ellison, must be praising almighty dollars, holla, hallelujah, gold standard with Whitey on the throne. See how this American gangster's bank account so super packed with good, clean, old money, that cold money, that old money, now that Whitey's on the throne, call it privilege or $1 million loan from Daddy Warbucks and slumlords we trust, connoisseurs of disgusting. Now his son is son for those clamoring in desperate darkness called Once Upon a Time. That suddenly sounds like 45 became 47 on track turn office where rubbing is racing to top of food chains, maybe Oppenheimer Barbie codes or NASCAR point standings to masquerade their maleficence into macabre matrix or Morpheus wrapped in hypnos called gnosis or no sense or politics. Caroling, singing, whether outside is frightful, filled with revivals or Bible-thumping revivals where idols conjure merry whiteness, bearing likeness to a Linus crisis. America's finest has finally reminded us their highness is finally home. So send this chaos priority mail special back to Whitey on the throne.
Molestation, manipulation, missed milestones, broken promises, gaslighting, and lies. And I have the audacity to have your eyes. All of my life, you made it about my size. You think you're above me, you don't see me at all. It didn't matter that I was just a kid. You're too big. Then why do I feel so small? Did you ever care a little, if at all? Hear ye, bear witness to the fall of my fragile self-esteem. Then watch him gleam in delight as he calls me a fucking millennial when he's cornered in an intellectual fight. When you've resorted to name-calling, I've already won. So calm down, buddy. Don't be so mad as to go grabbing your gun.
1. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the fascist states of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under Trump, extremely divisible with liberty and justice for Trump. 2. Satan forgot to flush him down, and we had the opportunity to do just that. I guess there's just too much shit in those pipes for Trump has a way of resurfacing, bringing more problems than any solutions. 3, moving forward, job applications should omit convictions in the background check in the same fashion that they should have removed relative job experience in 2016. 4, we should be treating Trump supporters like Nazi supporters. Y'all traded an armband for a cap. Y'all are supporting a racist and fascist regime. Y'all deserve a punch in the face. 5, I hope we don't see another devastating hurricane run through that island of floating garbage, because my family would be absolutely fucked. We're going to need more than paper towels, cabron. Chingate, maga sucia. 6, maybe we need something worse than a pandemic to remind the masses that we, the people, made the wrong choice. But I doubt it. America likes it rough. Again, I kink shame you eternally. 7, you either die hero or live long enough to become the villain. Funny how you are becoming the very same thing you villainized in World War II. Wish.com Hitler is probably going to lead us into World War III. Maybe we need to see something ugly to happen here so that we can never again repeat the same mistakes leading to this moment in history in a similar fashion that Germany distances themselves from Nazism. 8, to any people of color who voted for Trump, I hope you are never on the receiving end of police brutality, because y'all voted for the police to have immunity. 9, Lady Liberty is crying her eyes out with tears flooding the streets throughout America. There are no lifeboats in sight. 10, America's misogyny is too afraid to have a woman president. 11, on the day after the election, my first customer said, "Today's a great day to be an American." Define what it is to be American, other than deplorable. 12, I made it to 12. Can Trump even count to 12? Yet people count on him to run this country. 13, sequels tend to be worse than the original.
B stands for beneath you, between you. Let me be with you. While you inside of me, I'm creaming repeatedly, playing my role accordingly. I'll submit, but only if you make me. And that leads to E, engulfed in you and your energy. The more time you spend with me will have you preparing a list of possibilities, multiple probabilities of how many ways you could sin for me. 'Cause girl, we going in, and I ain't never scared. I would let you take me there. Watching your tongue roll around my clit, do that little neat thing when I let you hit. Turn on the playlist, let me see your hips. See, that stands for your pretty face as you come for me. Let me use your knee. We in the perfect position. Your lap is a cushion, 2, maybe 3 fingers pushed in. And then we got H, 'cause I'm holding on. And honey, your name is being moaned all night long. Your neighbors know our song. Don't worry about that long distance, 'cause we could be on the phone. Hold on, see? This ain't even where I was supposed to be. Sound like I'm freestyling, right? Let me not get too carried away. I'm gonna bring it back. P, that P is for this pussy juice. The way she turns up just for you. We chasing nut after nut like duck, duck, goose. Baby, don't never turn this coochie loose. Aren't you gonna watch me rub one out for you? As you give me clear directions, watching you plant kisses in different sections. You see, these sessions are filled with hidden confessions. We going all night. We ain't getting no rest in. E is for edge me. This is your show. Let me ride that strap like a rodeo. Watch me pose. Film this stop motion. 'Cause I want to sin bad while we skin clad. Make our old bitches big mad, thinking about what they still could have had. Squirting and sloppy kisses, let our nut count reach the double digits. Wrist tied and pussies dripping, 'cause you've been tripping. Now you got me tripping. Baby, are you listening? From the moment you pushed in, you had me gasping and grasping, handling all this ass, and that leads to the last S as we make mess after mess. A symphony of no noises, the neighbor shall know no rest from the moment we get undressed.
Shadowy people who answer to no authority save their own miserable judgment. I see lies upon fabrications and denials, plus distortion of the facts to manipulate perception and reception of directives sent to stimulate a people. I watch a so-called news show so disgusted I have to shut the channel, put on sounds from the heart of someone true to love, for no man or woman can make sounds like these without pledging themselves to love, the being in it, the dancing with it, the growing old by its side. I need stimulation like any living thing, but these noises coming from the bleeding horn of ignorance, pounding its chest ape-like in fear and pain, rub me raw with their screechy nail on chalkboard sounds. Words jettisoned out of the chaos, words that start with P and end with T, forming a hellish pit in between, where once an honorable word stood, its hands outstretched with the gift of something good to believe in. Perhaps I sound the same as any drunken man or village idiot, but my opinion is my own, based on what I know, and equally important, what I'm not told. So, I will myself to quantum level, and as one atom to another, we are the same atom. There is no such thing as distance between 2 points. I see the all and the nothing, every hidden place in between, yielding up their sad protectorship of all they know to me. And there is no need for explicit details when you feel a truth echoed in time by another atomic structure. There is fate, prophecy, and what men do, told in the patterns of the stars. As I am one of them, man and star, my body made of stardust, I hear stardust, I hear their songs, and know them like they know themselves. They make me hot and flush with knowledge of chaotic worlds beyond my own, and maps of all the dark places dirty deeds reside. But I can't avert my eyes as long as the song is being sung. And the seeds of confusion keep getting sown, while the flowers of truth keep getting blown off the branch and onto the ground where no one sees them anymore. They said he forgot and called him Dizzy. Bitter, bitter, bitter. Bitter, 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 bitter. My name is Dizzy Gillespie. I want to play my jazz just for you. My name is Dizzy Gillespie. Let me play my jazz for you. My name is Dizzy Gillespie. I made bebop in the 40s. My name is Dizzy Gillespie. Let me play my jazz for you. Let me swing my horn for you. Let me play my jazz for you. Man, can you hear that horn swing? Unblock your ears, round out your edges, let the man with the rubber cheeks talk to you. I'll never go back to Georgia. I'll never go back to Georgia. Cubano B, Cubano Bop. Hey, you want to do a little freedom jazz dance? Just you and me discussing flatted fifths under a moonlit sky and whether or not Charlie Parker was really hooked on smack. Or was it just his life that killed him? My name's Dizzy Gillespie. I want to play my horn just for you. I can hear that crazy bebop beat. Is that Max Roach on traps, flying in high, sliding in low, bringing with him Afro-Cubano rhythms that hark back to Africa? Yes, Mama Africa. Continent of crazy colored people who live in jungles hot and steamy, filled with lions and leopards, hippos and elephants, wild animals and wild people living on the banks of the Nile and the plains of the Kalahari. Is that where we come from? The banks of the Nile? Or is it perhaps the banks of 52nd Street, New York City, late 1940s after the war, a time far removed from today when everybody had money? Because we were Americans and we had won. Come in like the cavalry and saved Europe's butt from the axis that was spinning out of control. Kicked heavy ass with patriots of all colors and come home heroes. Long live truth, justice, and the American way. Were we in a mood to party? And there stood Dizzy, smile as wide as the Mississippi is long. Beret cocked cool to one side, eyes bright, goatee sharp, changing the face of jazz as we knew it. Jungle music, some called it. Bebop will never last, wrote the critics. Heathen sinners who don't care about our society, the righteous shouted. But they were just scared. As everywhere Dizzy went, people started listening to him more and more, opening up their hearts to something real for a change. I mean, brothers and sisters, this wasn't just music. Can I get an amen? This was one heart singing out, then another, and another, and another, another, until a whole generation was in the choir, and the world responded like it never had before. In those brief moments, it must have seemed as if peace was finally at hand. For the angels, they were singing, and the light was shining on us all. My name is Dizzy Gillespie. I want to play my jazz, my life, my heart for